A very warm welcome to BBC London. Coming up on the programme. Family and friends of 14-year-old Kellyan Bokassa, fatally stabbed on a bus in Woolwich in broad daylight, gather for his funeral service in south-east London.
He was a very, very loyal friend. I miss Kellyan so much. I miss him so much.
We're at a London hospital trying to help take weapons off our streets. Also tonight. Tolls will be introduced on 2 river crossings, including the controversial Silvertown Tunnel in just a few weeks' time. Some Londoners can apply for a discount. After this e-bike fire at an underground station last month, unions call for them to be banned on the network. Plus, an uptick in dog fostering in Essex thanks to Towie star and Strictly celeb Pete Wicks. Hello and good evening. We start tonight with moving tributes from family and friends at the funeral of 14-year-old Kellyan Bokassa, who was fatally stabbed on a bus in Woolwich in broad daylight earlier this year. His mother described him as a protector and a loyal friend who always put others first. More than 100 mourners gathered at Christ Church, Greenwich, and our Home Affairs correspondent Sonia Jessup was invited to attend.
There is no rightness about it. The words of the Reverend leading the service for Kellyan Bokassa, laid to rest today, just 14 years old.
He will come at home and cook for his friends. He said, "Mommy, let me do this," and he wanted his friend to be comfortable. He was a very, very loyal friend. I miss Kellyan so much. I miss him so much.
Kellyan was stabbed 27 times on a bus in Woolwich in January. His mum, Marie, said he'd been groomed into gangs from the age of 6. He'd been taken into care for a number of years. She says she tried to help him and warned her son would be killed.
He's still a child. He has many years to change. A child at 14 years old, you have many years ahead to change. He was a vulnerable little boy on the streets.
Kellyan was killed just 3 months after another teenager, DeJean Campbell, was fatally stabbed in Woolwich. Many of the young mourners here today are said to have been friends with both boys, and there are fears for them.
I mean, as an adult, you're used to going to funerals. You know, you get to a stage where people start dying. But these are young 14 and 15-year-old children getting used to going to funerals. That alone is a major problem. And then there can be mental type of issues relating around that because they're not meant to be subjected to that kind of thing at that age. You know, so they need more protection and we need more understanding of how these children feel.
If a child doesn't open up to adults, it's definitely not a safe child. If a child doesn't tell adults what he's doing, where he is, or doesn't trust authorities, it means there's something that the system needs to really look at because those children are not safe.
2 boys, aged 15 and 16, have been charged with murder. Greenwich Council says there'll be a formal child safeguarding review and that it's actively working to protect young people. As Kellyan was laid to rest today, his family were told he is safe now, with no one to fear. Sonia Jessup, BBC London.
The devastating impact of knife crime. And to try to take weapons off the capital streets, St George's Hospital in Tooting has become the first in the UK to introduce a knife amnesty. It's after it treated 500 people with injuries from knives and other sharp objects last year. Amnesty bins will now be placed at other hospitals around the capital. Here's Carl Mercer.
St George's Hospital in Tooting 5 years ago.
Walking to school with her friends this morning, noticed somebody behind her, felt a pressure in the back of her right thigh, only realised that she'd been stabbed when she saw blood on the floor.
A 15-year-old girl has been stabbed in the leg in a random attack. It's a day her mum will never forget.
That moment, oh God, was so hard for me. Like, what is it going to happen? Is she going to survive? Because I don't know how deep it is. Is she going to be able to walk again? So I was having a lot of thoughts in my mind.
Her daughter has now fully recovered. The hospital she was treated in is trying to prevent others from ending up victims of knife crime. For the last 6 months, this box has stood in the hospital grounds. And this is what it's produced. 87 weapons handed in just 6 months, as the surgeons here have seen more than 500 stabbing victims over the last year.
Once they're injured, it's life-changing, and you want to, as a surgeon, I want to prevent this from happening, because I think that's the main way to help these people. Patching them up afterwards is not the best way of going about this. So the hospital was working with a local charity to put this amnesty bin in the hospital, and it's put in a place where there's no CCTV, so it's anonymous, and we didn't know what to expect from it, but I've been surprised, really amazed at how many weapons they've found in just a 6-month period. If you've got one of these weapons at home, they don't have any purpose in our society, so if it's in your house, think about putting it in this bin, because it'll protect you and it'll protect others and from these awful injuries.
The hospital's thinking of putting knife bins at other sites it runs. Joyce, meanwhile, still living with the memories of what happened to her daughter.
Now I stopped listening to news. Yeah, because anytime I hear that, my heart just broke. Because it's not easy. I feel the same for those parents as well. I was lucky. My daughter was saved. But not everybody will get that.
That was Joyce speaking to Carl Mercer. Thanks for being with us this Wednesday. Lots more to come tonight, including...
I'm Sophie Stern. I'm an actor. I'm going to tell you about the new production of Macbeth that I'm in.
And finding a home, why there's been an uptick in dog fostering in Essex. Now, it's been controversial from the start. In less than a month's time, the new Silvertown Tunnel opens in East London. And motorists are being warned that when it does, tolls will be introduced to use not just this new river crossing, but also to use the existing Blackwall Tunnel as well. Well, with more details and how much it will cost drivers, here's our transport correspondent, Tom Edwards.
A new tunnel, Silvertown, has been built right next to the Blackwall Tunnel. Work is nearly complete. In 4 weeks, most of the time, you will now have to pay to use both of these crossings. And there is still much opposition locally.
I think this is a public injustice, and it's going to affect the health of thousands of people in Greenwich and Newham, which is one of the most polluted boroughs in London.
The road infrastructure has not been improved. It's possible, because there aren't any tolls from 10 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning, that, lorries, if they can, will, travel through to these distribution centres at night. I mean, the last thing you want is more lorry traffic on local streets at night.
Transport for London admits that on its own, building Silvertown Tunnel will increase congestion and increase pollution. To try and control that, it's going to introduce tolls, so vehicles will have to pay a charge to use both tunnels. For each crossing, motorbikes will be charged £2.50 in peak, cars £4 at peak times on each crossing, with lorries £10 in peak. There are exemptions and discounts, although campaigners are concerned the tolls could get removed in the future.
There's huge political resistance to the toll on Blackwall, which is the only thing that's protecting residents from all the pollution and congestion that Silvertown will cause. So it's quite likely that the next mayoral candidate will either reduce or remove the toll, or just not increase it fast enough to deal with the increase in congestion and pollution. And then everyone is worse off.
The cost is £2.6 billion, paid for with private funding, paid back using the tolls. There'll be 21 free buses an hour, but also larger HGVs will be able to use the crossing.
We mustn't pretend that the situation in that part of London is acceptable. It isn't. There is only one river crossing in that part of London, the Blackwall Tunnel, a tunnel made in the Victorian times that's built on a bend to stop the horses bolting. It closes on average 600 times a year. You know, every 5-minute closure leads to a 3-mile tailback. That means that the one bus that does cross the river is arguably the most unreliable bus in London. That's leading to not just congestion, but bad quality air.
Transport for London says the scheme will stop the daily queues at Blackwall.
It's the bus services to enable more people to travel across the river, but do so in sustainable means, and it's the user charge. And the user charge critically helps to ensure that we can manage the levels of traffic so we don't see more traffic attracted into this area. But what we do is resolve the problems in terms of queuing, resolve the problems in terms of reliability, and enable people to make reliable trips across the river.
Silvertown opens and tolling on both tunnels starts on April the 7th. These are big changes to London's transport network.
Yeah, they certainly are. And Tom's with me now. Tom, just take us through a couple of the basics. First up, how will you pay for the tolls?
Well, it's going to be the same as the congestion charge and the ULEZ charge. So you'll go online 3 days after you've been through the tunnels and pay for it. Or you can go to this phone number, call this phone number that you'll be able to see on your screen now, 0343 222 2222. The penalty for non-payment is £180. That's reduced to £90 if you pay within 2 weeks. And with the start of the ULEZ charge and the congestion charge, they did have this grace period where they'd only give you a warning letter. Now, TfL won't confirm that that's what they're going to do, but it's probably what they're going to do. They say they reserve the right to use discretion to issue a warning notice. So you might get a warning letter initially, but don't quote me on that. Personally, I'd pay the toll.
And we saw in your report there, you know, some of the amounts that we're talking about. For drivers to get the off-peak rates, you have to register, is that right?
Yeah, that's new. Basically, TfL want really everyone to register for TfL Auto Pay, but to get the off-peak rates, you're going to have to register for that. And to do that, you have to go online. You'll be able to see the website where you get all this information on the screen now. It's also worth pointing out that the peak is northbound in the morning and southbound in the evening. So any other time, you could get a cheaper rate if you register for auto pay. And also for exemptions like low-income residents discount and 100% discounts for black cabs and blue badges, you will also need to register online to get those. So you've got about 3 weeks to sort this out. It all opens on April the 7th.
OK, I have a feeling you're going to need to tell us some of this again. Sure. Tom, for now, thank you. And Tom is going to keep across some of your questions. So if you've got one or you want to share how the new tunnel and the upcoming tolls could affect you, please do just get in touch. Drop us an email. The address you can see there, hello@bbc.co.uk. OK, let me bring you a roundup of some of the day's other news. A former assistant to the Health Secretary has pleaded guilty to indecent exposure in East London. Sam Gould was sacked from his job as a senior caseworker for Wes Streeting and has been suspended from the Labour Party while awaiting sentencing next month. The leader of Redbridge Council says he's appalled and has urged Councillor Gould to step down. A 17-year-old boy has been charged with the murder of 16-year-old Nathaniel Burrell, who shot last Tuesday in Stockwell. The teenager appeared at Bromley Youth Court and was remanded in custody. A 32-year-old has already been charged with murder. And the family of murdered Southend MP Sir David Amess have met the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary at Downing Street today. They went to challenge the decision not to launch a public inquiry into the circumstances surrounding his death. Sir David was stabbed and killed in Essex in 2021. His family believe that his murder could have been prevented. Turning to concerns over e-bike fires. This one at Rayners Lane Station in northwest London last month has led to calls for them to be banned from the underground. E-scooters aren't allowed on the Transport for London network, but e-bikes are. One union says they increase the dangers of a fire and explosion on trains and platforms and is urging TfL to take action. Layla Hayes can tell us more.
An e-bike engulfed in flames at Rayners Lane tube station last month. The station had to be evacuated while 3 fire engines tackled the blaze. Thankfully, no one was hurt. It's thought the e-bike was being wheeled towards the open doors of a train here when it caught fire. Of course, if it had exploded on the train, the outcome could have been much, much worse.
Is there a fire extinguisher?
An e-scooter fire at Parsons Green in 2021 means they're no longer allowed on the tube. But e-bikes are still permitted, even though they use similar batteries. The train drivers' union ASLEF is now calling on TfL to ban them.
We're now saying to them that unless you do something, we will be in dispute and our members will take what action they have to do to protect the safety of the travelling public and themselves.
Do you think this could lead to industrial action?
I certainly hope not. I certainly hope they will do the sensible thing and act in the interest of safety.
In a statement, Transport for London told us, our primary concern is always the safety of our customers and staff, and we regularly review our risk assessments and the controls we have in place to ensure our customers can travel safely. We asked passengers at Rayners Lane what they thought.
If there's a problem with them, then really they shouldn't be allowed on the trains. I didn't know they were allowed on trains anyway.
I have read about things in the paper about them when they're charging, exploding at home and causing fires. If there's any chance of that, no, I don't think there should be.
I've seen young boys on bikes and doing wheelies on the platform, and it's really intimidating and dangerous.
Obviously not great if they're catching light, but maybe with better safety measures, then allow them on public transport.
The fire caused huge disruption, but could have been worse. And transport workers say e-bikes like this shouldn't be on public transport. Layla Hayes, BBC London.
Next, I want you to meet Sophie Stone. She was the first deaf actor to get into the prestigious acting school RADA. Since then, she has appeared on stage and screen and is currently in a production of Macbeth at the Lyric Theatre in Hammersmith. She's been telling Alice Bandakravi about the challenges of navigating a competitive industry as a deaf person and the positive impact she hopes it will have for actors in future.
They would make war with mankind. It said they eat each other. They did so.
In this production of Macbeth, Sophie Stone playing Ross and Bianca Stevens playing Lady Macduff integrate sign language into their performance.
It's organic,
yeah,
for sure. But I love that you're so curious because you've always asked and always considered things.
I sort of was just like, yo, Soph, can we do some, can you teach me some signs and stuff? Yeah. And like, it makes that scene better. BSL really like lends such a beautiful language to really express that to people.
Theatre presents unique challenges for deaf actors, not least the positioning on stage and the low lighting backstage.
Are you lip reading? We've got our lovely interpreter with us today, Sophie. So tell us how it works.
I do lip read a lot. It's hard back there. I mean, there's literally no light whatsoever.
It's so dark.
Yeah, I'm like, what? What? That's so close. So yeah, it's quite intimate back there. I'm really sorry.
You'll never guess what Louise is doing tomorrow.
Oh, have you got a day out? Are you going on a minibus?
What are the challenges that you have faced?
Having to re-educate every time I start a new job. So if I'm the only deaf person, I carry that educational pack, and I have to like remind people, you know, this exercise won't work for me. But it makes a difference when you go into a room and people want to get things right. They want to try. They know that they'll make mistakes and they know that they will go away and think about things, unpack things, and then return having learned something.
What is it? What did she say?
It doesn't matter.
Please.
She said to ask you whether travelling with the doctor changed you.
or where you're always happy to put other people's lives at risk.
Have you carried on shaking things up everywhere you go?
Every job I do, whether it's intentional or not intentional. Yeah, I think my presence alone will always make people either want to or have to look at things that aren't working. And that can only be a good thing.
Alice Bandukravi, BBC London.
Trailblazer Sophie Stone. To football now, and Arsenal's quest for a first ever men's Champions League title. The Gunners are already in a good position to get to the quarter-finals, but tonight they'll be looking to complete the job in style at the Emirates Stadium, which is where we can join our sports reporter Chris Slegg, who can explain. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, it's rarely do a set of fans get to arrive at a Champions League knockout round, second leg, completely free of nerves, but that's pretty much the case for Arsenal tonight. They lead 7-1 from the first leg against PSV Eindhoven, and they are virtually assured of a place in the quarter-finals. And that's good news because there's greater onus on this competition now. The Premier League title race looks to be over there, 15 points behind Liverpool. Now, in the quarter-finals, Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid will await Arsenal. Real Madrid, the holders, lead that tie 2-1 going into tonight's second leg. Tonight here, it's about Arsenal showing that they have the quality to go on and win this competition. And their centre-back, William Saliba, certainly believes they do.
Everyone wants to win the Champions League because this competition is one competition that you watch when you are young and you want to win, and we know that the competition is really hard to win, so we'll give everything and anything can happen. If we don't believe or if we don't dream to win the Champions League, there is no point to play. We are here for games before the final and we can do it, and we all believe that we can do it.
So William Saliba in confident mood. Now also this weekend, a couple of huge matches on the London sports scene with silverware at stake. Chelsea go for glory in the Women's League Cup final. They're aiming for what could be the first leg of a possible quadruple. They take on Manchester City at Pride Park. And on Sunday, the Premier Women's Rugby Grand Final, Saracens take on Gloucester Hartpury. Gloucester the favourites. They're going for a third consecutive title, but Saracens do have home advantage. The venue was chosen for that final before we knew Saracens would be in it, the StoneX Arena. Surely Saracens will get a good home crowd there up at Barnet Copthall. Huge weekend ahead. Here tonight, probably a tension-free night, but possibly a huge prize ahead at the end of the season for Arsenal.
OK, Chris, from the Emirates and looking ahead to the weekend, thanks ever so much. Now, look at that face. We know that there are always animals looking for their forever home. Well, one dog rehoming centre in Essex says it's seen more people getting in touch and coming forward to volunteer as foster carers. And it's all thanks to a documentary by dog lover and reality star Pete Wicks, which was filmed there. Lee Milner has the story.
0.34 kilograms.
From weighing newborn puppies...
Speeding up, I think he's going to die.
No, he's not. To waiting anxiously outside theatre for 10-year-old Murphy the pug.
Fingers crossed he's going to be fine because, because he was a lovely little dog.
It's moments like these viewers fell in love with Strictly Come Dancing and Towie star Pete Wicks in his new 4-episode documentary For Dog's Sake, which was filmed at the Dogs Trust Rehoming Centre in Basildon. Ever since it aired last month, the centre has seen an increase in inquiries.
Everyone wants to know about Pete. So we've had lots of people asking. We've had staff that have been stopped in Sainsbury's and, oh, look, you've seen you on the telly. So we've seen a lot more footfall. Certainly at weekends, we've really seen sort of more families coming down and people coming down. So they've seen the show, they want to kind of come down and see what we're about, but also loads more inquiries about adopting dogs, which has just been brilliant.
After watching the documentary, Morgan Ackland decided to become Teddy's foster carer, which means she'll look after him until he finds a forever home.
Good boy.
He arrived at the Dogs Trust when he was 3 years old, having been brought in by his owner, who simply couldn't give Teddy what he needed anymore.
Yeah, it's been great. I absolutely adore him. How could you not? I completely understand why some people do decide to give up their dogs, especially if they feel that like they can't give the dog the love, attention and care that they deserve. So I do completely understand. But yeah, I'm just obsessed with him. He's been incredible. He's so well behaved and
I love him.
The trust has been in Basildon for 11 years. Last year, it said it rehomed more than 500 dogs. It's hoped this year will see more dogs being rehomed thanks to the success of Pete's new documentary.
Lee Milner, BBC London.
In Basildon.
Other puns are available. Oh, nice to see some happy endings. OK, let's get a check on the weather, shall we, with Darren. You're more of a cat person?
Yeah, I've got a cat, not a dog, and she's called Monkey.
Is she?
Confusing, I know.
I'm not going to ask.
She was born in The Beast from the East. She was a rescue, and she's got a curly tail. No Beast from the East today, but it did feel pretty chilly out there, actually, and we've got a winds from the north. That's keeping it cold again tomorrow. It's almost a repeat performance tomorrow of what we had today, so expect some showers, but also expect some sunshine around as well. This was the scene earlier on. We've still got some showers at the moment. This is the radar over the past few hours. They've been pushing down on that northerly breeze, moving down towards the London area. Those showers around this evening, I think they will tend to die away overnight tonight, but clouds going to be coming and going, and it's cold air, of course, thanks to that northerly wind. The air's all the way down from the Arctic. So even if we keep a fair bit of cloud, those temperatures are going to be close to freezing. We could start with a touch of frost early tomorrow. Maybe a dry start then, a little bit of sunshine, but the cloud is going to build up again, and we are going to find some showers coming in, probably from mid to late morning, continuing into the afternoon. Not really heavy, but they're just annoying, really. The wind's probably not going to be quite as strong. It's still going to feel cold out there, mind you. Top temperatures struggling up to around 8 degrees, which is below average for this time of the year. We're in cold air. Here's where the winds are coming from, a long way north, bringing us the colder conditions and bringing us the showers as well. We could start with a more widespread frost, I think, on Friday morning. A sunnier start, yes, but again, the clouds will build up, and again, we're going to find those showers coming in too. The wind's probably lighter still on Friday, so it won't feel quite as cold, but we are going to find high pressure building in across the UK as we head into the weekend. So the weekend is looking dry. There'll be some sunshine and light winds. And during next week, those temperatures should steadily rise, Riz.
Sounds good, and I'm still smiling at your cat. Thanks, Darren. OK, that's it. Thanks very much for watching. By the way, how's your internet speed? Because on our website, find out if the area you live in is in an internet hotspot or not spot, with City Hall's map showing connectivity speeds by London postcode. Worth checking it out. From me and all the team here, have a lovely Wednesday evening. Bye-bye.